It's 2003, and Nintendo has released the Gameboy Advance SP, a highly anticipated handheld, an update with a backlit screen, and it flips. And you're excited because your grandma has gotten you one. Thanks, Granny. But as you start to play it and you notice things on the screen, you are at the mercy of Nintendo. That's right, exactly how Nintendo intended you to play. There was no promise of updates, there was no promise of change. Basically, you got what Nintendo fed you. Fast forward 22 years, and we're in 2025. But now, the Miyoo Flip is here. And while it brings nostalgia, it also brings a host of problems. But those problems are also hope. Because unlike your Nintendo Game Boy Advance SP back in 2003, this one can and will get updates, making this a long-term investment worth your time. While it may not be quite ready yet, there is the hope and the evidence of history, like with the Miyoo A30, which is now a great device. So while we take a journey and review the Miyoo Flip and find that there's many things potentially faulty with it, we see a path and an opportunity to make this the greatest flip handheld out there. Let's begin. And once again, it's time to hear from the old man. What will he say about this handheld? Hey, deadheads, back here with the old man. All right, so let's start. I'm going to give him the Anbernic First. So let's see what he thinks about this one. The Anbernic RG35XSSP. All right, Pops.
Mm. Mm. Nice. Heavy. I thought it would be lighter than that, but it's heavy. Got a nice little small screen. It's got this hinge that flips on it. Buttons on the controls on the back. Just some Star Trek buttons on, I call them. The back buttons on like that. Controls here.
Plastic.
Not bad for this one.
All right. Now, the new contender, the new kid on the block, the Flip from Miyoo. Which one will the old man pick, huh?
Different color. Light, a little bit lighter feel than the other one. Has a hinge that kind of like working on a lawn chair, for some of you people who know about that.
A lawn chair.
Nice little screen. Got a Mario on this one, but they don't come that way.
Flip them both. Which one?
Well, we're talking about the hinge on hinge on the deal. You can see the little hinge here, how it works backwards. It's like several positions, like a zero gravity chair. You know, you were up to position, then closed, as compared to this other one here. As compared to this other one here, which this one here to me, if you when you get older, your bones start clicking and popping in joints. That's what this one here. It would drive me crazy to keep operating that thing. This one has a smoother smoother join on thing, smoother opening. It don't make so noisy. This one here, it just makes me think of my knees popping.
As always, thank you, old man. So, between the two, he liked the Anbernic better based on the feel, the hinge, the less noise of it. And like we've said in our review, the Miyoo hinge is loud, and no one knows long term how well that's going to hold up. But let's continue to dive into this full look of our review. After having this for about 10 days, I think we can make a pretty good determination. So let's dive in. All right. So, what do we think about the Flip? Well, since our initial 24 hours with it, we've played this quite a bit and we've discovered quite a few things about this, and having had this for about 10 days ago. Number one, the custom firmware community is starting to come together now. And there are already some early releases such as GammaOS, which are stepping up the overall enjoyability of this handset. I've got to say that I have switched over to GammaOS, and using it has been quite a joy. Gamma has put together an excellent overview of how to use it. There's guides on how to set it up, so I'll link to that description. I won't go through the steps of showing you guys how to get this set up, but it even has dual boot options. So if you get tired of Gamma, you can easily go back to this firmware that you want of your choice, including stock. Now, one of the big issues that you should be aware is with the way this ships is that stock OS is kind of poo-poo, okay? There's some issues with it. I give Miyoo credit for attempting to bring out and make this thing a little more user-friendly. Now, one of the things that made the Miyoo name is the Onion OS. I can't imagine that Miyoo would be the company that they're becoming or are today if the Onion OS team had not been able to bring that level of customability to the unit itself. It's just really made this thing a really good joy to use. Now, are we going to get Onion on this? I don't know. But since Onion kind of led the way, and then we had Garlic from Seraphoff, there have been multiple teams of people bringing custom firmware and showing just what can be done, not only with just an on-the-top layer like MuOS or Onion, but also just incredible, like from the beginning using a kernel. So like the Rocknicks or Jellos. So and Battlesera. There's just amazing amount of community here. So remember, this is a long-term investment. And the criticism I have for this, the big criticism I have for this is the hinge. You heard the old man. He didn't like it. And I'll just do it here. It's just loud. Now I don't know. I don't know if this is going to be long term. I've pushed this thing, guys. I've opened and shut it. I've dropped it, and my hinge is holding up. Now this is only 10 days in. When you invest in something like this, even though it's still under $100, you want to still be able to use this 3 years from now, even though there's probably going to be a better version of this out by then. But that's not the point. The point is the hinge needs to be durable, and Miyoo took their time bringing this out. They took their time. I mean, this thing was announced over a year ago. So the hope is that this hinge will hold up. Now, we've already seen some early indications from people that their hinges are falling apart. What can I say? I hope that's just some error in the production value and not a long-term problem, but we don't know. Again, when you bought your Gameboy SP, back then, 22 years ago, nobody knew if that hinge was going to last. And by all means, Nintendo did a pretty good engineering feat with that thing. But you could not improve the software. You could not improve the system. You cannot do the things we can do now. So this is really amazing. Now, as far as the CPU, the 3566 is a pretty decent CPU for what you would want to play on this. you're not going to want to play anything 16:9. Now this can run PSP, but it's not fun. I don't recommend it. With the aspect ratio of this screen, you're firmly better playing most games that it's designed for. And yes, Game Boy Advance looks good if you use a bezel with it. So it's not bad, even though it's still a 4:3 aspect ratio. So the 3566, I think, is a decent choice here, supporting Bluetooth and Wi-Fi, and Gamma has all that figured out. I'm sure the other custom firmwares will have theirs figured out as well. So we have a really good hardware system here. This hardware is better than the hardware in the Anbernic. The H700 is a solid hardware, but the 3566 is going to do a little better, especially when you're playing something like Dreamcast or N64. Let me tell you, playing Mario Kart 64 on this thing is fun. I like playing it on this thing, guys. It's a lot of fun. Having the joysticks is an advantage, and I give Miyoo props for that because it just ups the ante just a little bit on this. Now, another criticism I have on this is that the colorways are ugly. Okay, guys, I didn't really want yellow. It's starting to grow on me. It just doesn't match the yellow of the Miyoo V4, and I don't understand. The plastic is also another issue. We have two kinds of plastics going on. I haven't been able to try the alternate colors, the black, to see if the plastic, but from all reports I've seen and from Russ's video, it looks like the plastics are different. So that's another thing. We need consistency, Miyoo. If you're going to really continue to grow into the company that I think you can, you got to get more consistent. We need design language that follows through, design language that stays through, just like the fact that these are all different colors. I just don't get it, you know. So the original renders that they showed had some really good looking colors. This looked different. This had white sticks and it had different color buttons, and the yellow was a little bit different. I wouldn't even call this yellow. It's like a cream, smoker's cream, whatever you want to call it. But we need better design language on this. So after having used this, I am confident, very confident, that this is going to become an amazing handheld. This is going to become the preferred handheld until someone brings out a bigger size screen. But at 3.5 inches, I think this is still better than the Anbernic. Even though the old man picked the Anbernic, I'm going with the Miyoo Flip. Yes, there are some issues. Again, Hinge reports are having problems. Some people are reporting it, although that may be isolated. So I don't know. I'm not convinced that that's a real problem yet. The SD card situation is still funky. There's software issues at the BIOS level that need to be fixed and corrected, or the Linux kernel level that need to be fixed and corrected. But this thing can get updated. It is open source. It's not locked down like some of this junk we get that's emulec and stripped and we can't do anything with it. Guys, this is open. If this does what I think it's going to do, and it's already started with the community. There's so many different custom firmwares. Guys, this is going to be, at the end of this year, this is going to be it. This is going to be the handheld that I think everybody is going to want. And I'm talking about everybody that doesn't know this scene, people who have not yet discovered retro gaming. Wow. What do you guys think? Overall, I'm saying buy it if you can get a hold of it. It's selling out quick. But despite all its flaws, despite the things and issues we see now, this is a good long-term investment. It's a good handheld that is pocketable. It has custom firmware and potential. It's got support. It's got a nice feel to it and size. It's got sticks that work pretty well. It is a very good handheld overall, as long as it keeps getting developed for, and I know it will. So anyways, hope you enjoyed this look and review at the Miyoo Flip. We have tested this thing extensively. We've thrown it, we've shaken it, we've, put it through the paces, and I still pick it up. I still pick it up. I'm still playing it. I've got a lot of handhelds, and this one still is getting picked up. So for Dead Fred, this is a definite buy. I like this a lot, guys. So I hope you're able to get a hold of one. I hope that you like it as much as I have. And I'm looking forward to Miyoo continuing to support and learn from this and do better. And let's launch some transparent ones in the future. Let's do a revision like you've done with the mini, and let's see some transparent ones that look good. Come on, let's get some better colors. Anyways, guys, remember to hug your loved ones and love your hugged ones, because tomorrow is never promised. We'll see you next time, Deadheads. Dead Fred out.